Hey there, I'm Dan Prudhomme. I am the president of the Board of Trustees for Hilton Head MLS, and thank you all for attending Pivot with Power. Hopefully you're enjoying all the great content that Colette and her staff have put together for us. Colette, thanks for sitting down with me. And we just wanted to take a few minutes in recap 2020. Not the year we planned for.
No, not at all.
But I think we've done a pretty good job at reacting.
I think so. Yeah, we have.
And, this has been like a real different set of cycles, I guess is the best way to say it. I think back to how we started to the year. There was really nothing remarkable going on. Inventory was maybe at that time a little bit lower than it typically is in January and February. Mm-hmm. And then COVID-19 hits, and the news media is telling us that the world is basically, the economy is going to crash, the world's going to end. We had lots of meetings at that time, you and myself and the board. Could we do to provide relief? Because we were really concerned at that time what was going to happen. Yes. And so we acted quickly. I think we reduced MLS dues for a period of time.
For a couple of months, we reduced dues 50%, and then we actually delayed and ceased the fines for a couple of months so that no one was worried about that.
Yeah.
And we had a good response to all of that. Yeah. But nothing really slowed down.
No, I mean, it did for a period of time, right? There was maybe 3 or 4 weeks where we were afraid to leave the house, and the only thing that we left for was to try and find toilet paper.
Right.
There was that period of time, which seems like it was years ago.
It does.
But then the market just came roaring back.
It really did. And we, we implemented, some things that we, like you said, we didn't know people were going to need them or not, but, we kind of went backwards in a way. We decided that we would enter listings for people whose assistants were having to be at home with their children and maybe couldn't give them 100% of their time, from 9 to 5, if that's, what they needed, agents that weren't used to putting their listings in. So we went back and offered that service. We also started a lockbox concierge service. We had an agent who was in Greenville due to some health matters and couldn't come back, but yet had listings he needed to put lockboxes on. And so we said, well, how about we become the lockbox concierge, right? For, and we treated it sort of like we were Amazon. We put took the lock boxes to the listings, took the picture, showed that, it had been delivered. Yeah. And, it was fun. I did it myself, we all kind of pitched in and helped as much as we could.
Yeah. I mean, that's the great thing about this island, right? Is everybody really came together, and I'm proud of the way that we reacted as an MLS. And I feel so grateful. I think most people do that it's turned out this well. There are certainly people that have gotten sick, and and we all know those people, and that's not a great thing. But the way that we reacted as an MLS, the way that we came together as a community, and then the fact that we're in this market that's maybe the best market that I've ever seen is pretty neat. You never know what's around the corner.
Yeah, I mean, it's, the staff has been busy through the entire thing.
Yeah.
Whether we were preparing for the unknown, or whether the whatever was reality just hit us, and so everyone adapted really well. So
and that's the thing, right? It was all unknown. Now we can look back and see what we did, and maybe some things we look smart, maybe other things we don't, but in the heat of the battle and the fog of war, you're just doing the best that you can, and what you think the membership needs. And I think hopefully everybody agrees that your MLS is really stepped up during this time to help us through the unknown, and then be there to support us in this market now, which is just incredible. So let's take a few minutes and let's talk about some of the things that we've implemented this year. Whether it was in the overall plan, or whether it was just a reaction to the new world that we live in.
Well, and I have to thank all of our members too, because I have seen since last year that we have a lot more engagement with the members and them telling us where pain points are and helping us come up with sometimes a way to resolve it or work around it so that we can assist them, because that's what we are here for. And if we aren't able to have those constructive conversations, and if they don't believe they can call us and make suggestions and tell us where those pain points are, we don't get to improve as fast because we have to figure it out on our own.
Yeah.
So we like to have a cheat sheet.
Yeah.
And then work on it.
Yeah.
So
there's nothing more valuable than constructive criticism to help you, design the business that the agents need to do business.
And we work with a lot of vendors, and immediately people started trying to figure out how can they get their listings more exposure, because people aren't able to see the listings because of COVID. And so we implemented the open houses you can have your digital open house or your virtual open house. You can have a live open house, live stream. So we created those fields so that people can, schedule one if they want to, post one if they want to, and get around the open house situation, you having it to be live. And as most people will tell you, they don't ever believe that we're going to go back to a lot of physical open houses, that people have become accustomed to that. They are demanding it. And there are, if you had heard Bob Hale speak this morning, you would hear him say one of the statistics that they are having at their MLS in Texas, in Houston, that there are a lot of things that it's an improvement, but we're not going back. So as Brad Edmonds says, there's no was anymore. We're not going back. We're past it. At this point.
I remember last year getting a couple calls from other agents in our marketplace asking, what my take was on broker open houses. Did we do them? If not, why not? Do we think, what's the long-term future of those things? Mm-hmm. And my response was, it's not something that I do a lot of. I think that, a lot of, at the time I was saying, I think a lot of agents don't go to those open houses as much anymore. Especially during that time, there was a lot more inventory than there is now. But these situations like this, or, it's weird to say a pandemic, right? A pandemic sometimes causes you to look across the way that you do business and say, okay, that's how we used to do it, but is that really the best way?
Right.
And some of the people that were reluctant to do a virtual open house or a 3D home tour, at that point you had to do it.
Yes.
And so
you had to learn fast.
Yeah.
Get comfortable with it quickly.
Yeah. If you wanted to compete, if you wanted to expose your listing the way that it needs to be exposed today, you had to jump into that arena.
That's right.
And figure it out. So, sometimes that little kind of push from behind, although you're not looking for it at the time, can be a blessing in the long run. And I do think that this pandemic will change certain aspects of our business forever. For a reason, because they needed to change. Right?
They did.
Yeah.
And any little boost you can get to get the change to happen, maybe in a condensed period of time, helps in a lot of ways.
Ripping the Band-Aid off, right?
That's right. I use that expression quite a lot.
Yeah.
So we've, but we also were able to transition our entire learning platform digitally. So we've had an increase of 50% of engagement with our training since Jeanette. I'm sure most people here have met her. Is fabulous, and she was able to transition everything online, and because of that, we had to incorporate the new member experience into that, because that's part of training. And so when we did that, the application process went online. It starts online, finishes online, feeds right into now what we have completely revamped the CRM, so that now that Salesforce is talking to a lot more of our back-end products. and will continue as we move forward, so that the speed of the application process is getting quicker.
Yep.
The ability for anyone to just go online and fill it out, not having to wait till us to email them the forms and things like that. So that happened really quickly. We started a continuing ed platform too, which we gave that to our members for 2020, so they could take continuing ed for free through this platform, and we've had over 350 members take advantage of that.
Yeah, I've had quite a few here.
Yeah,
so a question as it relates to that, winding up 2019 and looking ahead to 2020, did you have a plan to take all the training virtual this year, or is that again like maybe you had it in the back of your mind and this accelerated it?
It did definitely accelerate it. And it's kind of like we had to spend the money sooner than later, but it's all been we've received back so many compliments, and
really
so. And just accomplished so much that it was worth the time, effort, and energy to do it. And I have to give the kudos to Jeanette, because she has worked extremely hard to learn 2 different systems, really Salesforce and the learning platform, and to try to figure out how they can integrate. And, so she's had to learn a lot really quickly to help us, because we're only a staff of 8. And everybody is kind of in their lane, but we've all had to step out and kind of put a little more effort into everything that we're doing.
Yeah, everybody's lanes got wider during COVID, right? Like what your lane became is a lot more than what it was going in. Yeah, so, awesome.
Yeah, and we've had to date we had 249 new members.
Wow.
So we found that a lot of people have had the time to take those classes to get their licenses, and then of course they've had a lot of time to learn the system when they were new, which before I don't think people were as anxious to sit down and figure everything out, but because they're at home and have this flexibility now, I think we had a lot of people who were educated well quickly versus let me just get into the system and see what's in there. I think now we have very well-rounded new agents who have joined.
Yeah.
So I think that's a plus.
Yeah, it certainly is. It certainly is. Again, taking the education online is just wow. It's maybe the way that it always should have been.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
But there are people who still were having a difficult time of accepting online learning.
Yep.
And I think now they're just going to be more comfortable with it because they had to do it, and so they're not intimidated by it any longer. Yep. So I think that's good.
It amazes me just how many Zoom meetings we all have now. And before this, if there was a lot of people out there that you'd say, "Hey, you want to meet on Zoom?" and they're like, "No, I'd rather." Like now, it's just it's just more convenient. You learn better how to have a meeting that way. You learn how to share your screen. Like just doing it over and over and over again makes you an expert.
And not to toot our horns a little bit with what has actually been accomplished by the staff, but not only were they adapting to kind of the digital, having to refocus on everything being digital, but they also had to do what they were normally doing, right? So, we had a new Realist interface release, so they had to work on the back end simultaneously doing that. We refaced our mobile app, so that took time away during COVID to do all that as well.
In between putting up lockboxes?
Yes, all of that, So, I mean, it's exciting. I like a good challenge, so it was exciting to be able to try to work all of this in, but it's, it does create a little bit higher level of stress because of it, but...
And these are all real people, right?
Yeah.
Like, I've gotten to know most of the staff at MLS, and they're all real people, and we all had anxiety about what was going on and how things were going to happen. So not only were they wearing all these hats, they were still living in the same world.
They were.
They weren't immune to COVID.
No.
Right?
And everyone has their personal issues, whether they have family or health or They commute, whatever the situation is. Everyone had a unique situation that we had to adapt to through this, and as everyone.
Yep.
But it was, I won't say it was seamless, but it was good. It was really good. And now they have actually more flexibility. So it gives them, I think, creates less stress on them overall when they know that, hey, well, if something happens and the school bus doesn't come, I can now stay home this morning and I'm all prepared to work.
Yeah.
So I think that's really good. So
I do too. Certainly nobody would wish that we have gone through what we've gone through with this pandemic, but looking for the silver linings and the improvements in business practices and how we sell real estate and how we market homes. There is some positive things that have come out of this.
We now more than ever understand how much integration there has to be with every aspect of the marketplace. And people have had a tendency, or companies or certain segments of the marketplace, to want to hoard some of that control. But the fact of the matter is they had to let some of it go during this, which has opened up opportunities for our members and in different ways. During all of this, we allowed inspectors to now become members.
Yep.
We've really pushed for more property managers to get on board. So we have like a dozen inspectors now who are affiliates with us. We have some new property management companies that we're working with because we have some new products that are coming into play that will help them integrate more with the membership that we have, so that there's more information out there with regards to rentals. And so we're working with them right now, getting them on board, kind of seeing where pain points are for them, so that then we can expand a little bit of that so that everyone benefits.
Sure.
And that's really what the MLS is here for, is to make the market work, as we say at CMLS. And the way we can do that is with the information, the membership who actually joins, and can now provide these services in one space, or have access to the services in one space. So if we are able to integrate that, we're able to give it back to you in a format that's recognizable to you, and you're able to integrate it with whatever you use on your back end. So, it's important for brokers to share what they need. We have brokers who have made some probably heftier requests this year than have in the past, in preparation for maybe where they're going next year. So we've been working with trying to adapt what we have, because we distribute our data via a platform called Trestle now. So we've actually increased the time frame, or should decrease the time frame from application to inception. Now it's all online.
Yep.
You go make the request online. Now it takes about 2 days is the average for you to get your data to your vendor.
Yep.
So it's all it's finally coming together. And it does help that the vendors themselves, whether it be our core vendors such as CoreLogic or Showing Time or whomever it is, that they were forced to give up some of their, kind of access controls that they had.
That's always the thing. And that's, us as real estate agents, I think, we want to hold and control, in a way, the marketplace. We're afraid to give that up. But there's always this balance with technology, at least the way that I see it. The more that you're willing to give up and accept the future, the less friction you can have in the transaction. And it's like anything, the more data that you have available, the more you can do with it. And so, the idea is that our MLS and the services our MLS provides becomes a hub in a way, right? And you can choose what CRM you want to use or how you want to connect to that hub, but the flow of information is seamless. And to me, a good example is Showing Time, right? Showing Time is one of those things that, as I talk to people, they either love it or they hate it. The people that don't use it tend to be the ones that hate it because they've never used it.
Right.
Right? The people that use it and get past that, anytime you make a change, that is that initial period of time where you're learning, where it's uncomfortable and you tend to say, I don't like it. Well, it's not that you don't like it, really. It's that you don't like the fact that you don't understand it completely. But once you get past that and then you see what it does, it's amazing. We just had a client contact us. They've sold several houses. They're in Atlanta, and they have a home here for sale. And they said, this thing is so incredible. I've downloaded the app. Now, this is a homeowner. I can see every appointment as it's made. And so for us, we love it because it's not so hands-on for us. We're not having to call the client every single time, say your house is being shown tomorrow, it's being shown this time. Right? They're just in the system. They're seeing the information. It's flowing. But you have to buy into that system, put your information out there. But the benefit of how we can serve that information up to other people is just really,
and the
really
expectation's
huge.
different now.
I agree with that.
They don't. A lot of people don't want to be bothered with all the phone calls. They want it to come over on that app, and let them have a little more control and visibility of what's going on. And then you have better conversations because they have the data there. You're not having to explain to them what happened over the course of the day. They're seeing it. They can have intelligent conversations with you, and they appreciate that.
Yeah. You're giving them the information they want in a manner, in a time where they're ready to consume it. And there's nothing better than that. I think we as real estate agents, we desire the same thing. Right? Like we get bombarded with emails about this and that and this and that.
You never have enough time.
No, so you don't read them all. And then you miss the important ones. Having a way that you can go to it when you have time. That's why Facebook, I think, has become so popular. When you're going to that platform, you're going there for a reason. You're going there to catch up with friends on what's happening. Could you imagine if all those posts were phone calls that came in throughout the day or text messages? Like you'd never get anything done.
No.
So, yeah. So, it's been we started off with a plan. We've massaged and maybe pivoted around that plan, right? There's things that we plan to do this year that we did. There's things that we plan to do this year that we did differently. And that kind of changes the way that we're going to head into next year, right? And so, what do you see as the important things that we're going to be doing next year to continue our trajectory?
So one of the things that we have learned is that we definitely need a little more flexibility than we have now. And we need the ability to create or manage our tech differently.
Okay. In what sense do you mean flexibility?
So we don't have a lot of flexibility with vendors, either because we are maybe not a 42,000 member MLS, or the sheer fact that we are very empathetic and with, at least we try to be, okay? We are very empathetic when I have conversations with brokers. I want to see what shoes they're wearing. And my immediate reaction is, what is the quickest way I can solve this for this broker? Is this something that appears as though it would cross over all the brokerages? Okay. And how soon can we get this managed? So a lot of times what happens is with our MLS that we have this idea or we have a plan that in order to adapt to what is needed in our marketplace, but it can't get addressed because either we're not a extremely large MLS, so our voice isn't loud enough.
With our vendor, you mean?
Yeah, with our vendor.
Yep.
Or we don't have the funds in order to do it ourselves. And so I was just, for instance, I have been told in the past month I had a conversation with a bunch of higher level executives with one of the core database company, CoreLogic. And they said to me, Colette, you're a very unusual MLS in the fact that you are looking for answers quickly, you pivot quickly, and you require us to do the same. So they said, let me give you an example. So California Regional MLS is the largest MLS in the country. It has like 110, 120,000 real estate agents, right? CoreLogic is their core vendor, right? So they said, you generally have more requests for enhancements, adaptations, integrations on a monthly basis than they have ever. So we last month we had double the requests that California Regional has, but also too, we're able to pivot quicker because we don't have these quite a few levels.
Bureaucracy.
Yes.
We're like a little startup in a way, right?
Yeah. And so we're kind of the entrepreneur on the block.
Yep.
And so that's why we have the sales rep we have, because he's been with us for a very long time. He understands, he knows how to get, the need across, and then the players start to adapt. And they've actually had to adapt how they handle our account, because they see that, we come up with some really good ideas, and they need to be able to adapt to them to that quicker. But that's one of the things that we foresee our future needing is the ability to handle that better. But we also are not going to change, like vendors we use, but we are pushing them a little harder. So, for instance, even though we upgraded our mobile app, we are actually upgrading the mobile app again for next year. So we're actually going to get another app that's going to be integrated that really is the best app on the marketplace. And I'm not saying that because I believe it. You've seen it.
I can't wait.
You were blown away by it, and it's completely integrated with our platform. And will be amazing for most people. I think, just find it to be way far and ahead of anything they've ever seen.
It's really the finest mobile app I've seen for real estate. Period.
It is. California Regional has just implemented it, by the way. So
well, I've seen Las Vegas' version of it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Well,
so I was just looking to see, was there anything else in particular we needed to remind anybody of?
What I want to remind everybody of is we are a small MLS in terms of our number of members, but we're not in terms of our aspirations and what we want to provide for service.
Not at all.
We're the opposite, and so I'm just really excited what the future holds for us. I know some of the projects that we're working on that we're going to be implementing. And I'm just proud to be involved with it.
Yeah, well, I'm fortunate to have the board of trustees that we have. They are excellent and are able to make decisions swiftly, I think, and educate themselves so that they can not hold up, where we're trying to get to, our goals as a whole. So. It's great.
Awesome. Well, I'm always available. If you have any questions for me, you can always email me or give me a phone call. Again, I want to hear, like Colette said, we want to hear, what we need in our marketplace to be the best and provide the best services that we can provide.
We sure do. So enjoy the rest of your day. There are some spectacular speakers this afternoon, and I hope you'll take away quite a bit from this entire event.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.